Welcome to another day, another unboxing. I've got the Xiaomi 12T Pro here. Yes, the 200 megapixel phone from Xiaomi. Whew, it's a doozy. Let's check it out because it's really quite affordable. That's a pretty good deal for a full-on flagship, folks. Now, some people argue that it doesn't have a telephoto, so that doesn't make it a full-on flagship, but I'm not being picky here. Okay, so 200 megapixel Xiaomi 12T Pro. There's some stuff on the back. We got a 256 gig, 8 gig version in black. So let's check it out. Dun, 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 dun. First, we've got the Xiaomi divider, which probably has the manuals in it. Then we have the actual phone. Let's pull this out. See what it says. 200 megapixel ultimate camera. It's got a Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, 120 watt charging, and 120 hertz display, and sound by Harman Kardon. Not bad. All right. 5,000 milliamp hour battery as well. Okay, so now we have another divider, and that brings us to this massive hunk. Oh my God, it's so heavy. Of a 120 watt charger. Wow, this thing is something else. Pretty heavy, European prong, USB-A with color keyed orange, which on the Xiaomi wall means a fast charger of some kind. But this thing is super heavy. Holy crap. All right, and then we get, of course, a charging cable, also very beefy, thick for like high current purposes. And you get A and C in here, right? C and A, color keyed, of course. We have to use this cable and this charger to get the speed. You can probably use a PD compliant charger to charge this phone at maybe 30 watt or something, but yeah. All right, so let's see what's in here real quick. SIM removal tool, nice. We get a case, excellent. So we get a TPU case, perfectly fitted, and probably to get you started if you want to protect the phone. All right, so that's nice to have. Also, that comes with whole bunch of docks. Wow, okay, let's see. Quick start guide, safety information, and warranties. We don't care about these two, but this could be interesting. And it's in multiple languages, like Polish. There's some illustrations. There you go, there's the phone. Yeah, you get the idea. All right. So, the phone itself. Let's take a look, shall we? So we actually need to remove this little paper cover to free it from the clutches of this packaging. There we go. There's an IMA sticker in the back, so I'm going to get to that right off the top of the head. There we go. And ta-da! Oh, look at that. That is quite the camera bump. Whew. Now, notice something interesting. Do you notice this? No Leica branding on here. Apparently, the Leica branding for the new Xiaomi phones is reserved to the Chinese market models. So it says 200 megapixel. You can see the big camera module. 2 more cameras, LED flash, Xiaomi branding. And I'm pretty sure this is glass. But, oh no, the frame is plastic. I don't see any antenna bands. Oh, that's a bummer. Okay, let me walk you through the edges. So on the right-hand side, you get a volume rocker, power lock key, and then you have a speaker at the bottom. This has stereo speakers, of course, as you'd expect, Harman Kardon branded. USB Type-C and primary microphone, and then you have the SIM tray, no micro SD here. Then you really have nothing on the left-hand side, and on top you have the second speaker, the Harman Kardon branding. Let's see if I can show you that. Right there. And then you have a secondary mic, but you also get an infrared transmitter. So you can use this to control television or an AC unit or something. Yeah, and then the camera bump, yeah, it's pretty serious. It's quite a bit of a bump. Anyway, let's fire it up. I'll talk you through the specs. So the good news is this has a flat screen OLED, 120 hertz. It is a 1220p display, which is kind of weird. 1220 by 2712 pixels. AMOLED, Dolby Vision, HDR+, 500 nits, 1200 nits peak, but it's not LTPO, I don't think. So they're saving a bit of money here, by forcing the refresh rate to a certain setting. But hey, under the hood, there's a Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1. That's a flagship chip, and that's great news. Good 5G performance, super high-end chip, really good for gaming, really high performance, stays cool and everything. We love the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1. You either get 8 gigs of RAM or 12 gigs of RAM, and in terms of storage, 128 gigs or 256 gigs. It's UFS 3.1. I'm pretty sure this is LPDDR5. That front-facing camera up here is a 20 megapixel f/2.2 camera with 0.8 microns. I wonder if it pixel bins down to 5 megapixels. I doubt it. But it doesn't support 4K video on the front. God damn, why is it that all the Chinese phones don't do 4K video on the front camera? I mean, most of them. That's kind of ridiculous. But hole punch in the center, bezels are reasonable. There's a bit more of a chin, but you know, again, these are the kind of affordable flagships from Xiaomi, the T series every year. So keep that in mind, right? Let's talk about the battery. So 5,000 milliamp hour, 120 watt charging. You don't get wireless charging here, which is a bummer in my opinion, but hey, again, this is not their top flagship. And then, of course, the fingerprint sensor is under the display and it's optical. And, you know, you get all the usual trimmings, NFC, all that stuff, stereo speakers, as I mentioned. But you probably came for this crazy 200 megapixel camera, didn't you? So what do you get here? You get 200 megapixel f/1.7, not bad, f-stop. 0.64 micron pixels, and you get face detect, autofocus, and OIS. That's good news. Now, the second camera below it is an 8 megapixel f/2.2 120 degree ultra wide with 1.12 micron pixels. That's basically a basic ultra wide at this point. And then, this is where we'd like to see a telephoto, Xiaomi. But we get instead a sticker cam. Yes, a sticker cam, meaning a camera that's completely useless and might as well be replaced with a sticker. We have a 2 megapixel f/2.4 macro fixed focus. Don't even know the pixel size, don't even care, because you're better off just taking that giant 200 megapixel sensor, punching into 2 or 4x, and pulling back to get that macro shot. You're going to get a better image every time. And you'll, of course, get a dual color, dual LED flash. And I believe this little island here is metal, it's aluminum. So even though you don't get an aluminum frame on the edges, you get a glass back and a bit of aluminum in that camera pod. That to me is good news. So that's basically the gist of this phone, the Xiaomi 12T Pro. And I mean, you're getting a lot. You're getting a Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 and a pretty interesting camera system and very fast wired charging. Now this reminds me of another phone, the OnePlus 10T, which also has crazy 150 watt wired charging and a Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, but doesn't quite have the same camera system, at least on paper. It does have a really decent camera system, but it also has like this 2 megapixel sticker cam for the macro and a kind of very average ultra wide. So yeah, so these could be considered competitors, and at that price point, you know, $650 for the OnePlus 10T, you get, I think, a better deal from OnePlus. So unless you really want the Xiaomi user experience and the, of course, crazy camera on the back and the bragging rights of 200 megapixels, I would say the 10T is probably a better bet, especially in the US where it works on 5G for sure. I have to test this yet. I believe it will work on T-Mobile okay, but it might not work on AT&T and probably will not work on Verizon 5G. So there you go. That's a quick look at the Xiaomi 12T Pro. And I hope you like this video. Please like, subscribe, tell your friends. Click the little notification bell below and tell me in the comments, is this your phone? Is this a phone you've been waiting for? If you live abroad, is this really the phone you've been waiting for? And more importantly, would you pick this over the OnePlus 10T, or would you pick the OnePlus 10T instead of this? I'd love to know. Tell me below. Remember, this channel is a complement to my podcast at mobiletechpodcast.com. That's where you're going to hear the opinions about this phone, right? I spend an hour every week with a guest talking about reviews and news, so you should check it out. mobiletechpodcast.com. We're on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Spotify, everywhere good podcasts can be found. And remember, folks, there is a Patreon. If you want to help me with this podcast, patreon.com/tankgirl. That's patreon.com/TNKGRL. There's a video version of the podcast, comes out a little sooner. and with little perks in there. There is another tier where you can get on the Discord server and chat with me. There's a bunch of options. If you want to support the podcast, support this channel, check it out. Thanks so much, folks, for watching. I'll catch you next time with another video. Cheers, everybody.